What is up, my Little Deinos? Vepsis here, your coach of the Helsinki Dragons, and I'm here for my NPL Majors Season 9 Week 3 battle versus IA and his team being the Connecticut Cobalions, and his roster includes of Megaladios, Tapu Bulu, which is one of his sea captains, Kyurem-Black, Heracross, Rodon Wash, Piloswine plus Syphilon, Zoroark, which is his second and final sea captain, Diancie and Regigigas. So that is his full roster that I had to prepare for, and it's a very threatening team, but matchup wise this should be in my favor how my offense matches up on his own offense. For example, Mega Aerodactyl, which is gonna be the first mod that I'm gonna be bringing, has a very good matchup. Kyurem-Black basically beats his wall breakers of Tapu Bulu, Hydranko. It should be able to beat both of them unless they are Scarf. And pretty much like going forward from there, Jirachi can deal with several of his mons, potentially defensively wise. And Crocodile can also be a huge nuisance to him too. So overall the matchup should be in my favor, but knowing the battler himself, IA, he is recognized to be one of the better players in this league and in general in draft league. So even though I feel like I have a matchup, it doesn't mean that there's any way of knowing that I will be guaranteed of winning that based on that. There's always multiple factors which can still come into play when it comes to my opponent, how well he can play around my team, how well he can potentially surprise me with his prep and come up with unique ways to deal with my team, because bad matchup only encourages great coaches to overcome that challenge for themselves, and that's something that I would expect IA to be capable of doing here potentially. And of course RNG can always turn any battle to anyone else's favor who happens to be on a luckier side, so hopefully that's gonna be the case for us, that if RNG comes into play. But ideally my hope going to this game is that I can execute the game plan that I have, and hopefully RNG won't come into the way and influence the outcome of the game, because I feel like if RNG comes into play, I'm more likely to get hurt by it than my opponent, because if the battle is turned out to be clean and I can play how I envision my team to be, I feel really confident that I can win this battle. But we have to wait and see how this is gonna turn out. The first mod, like I mentioned, is going to be my Mega Aerodactyl. We are running 4 attacks, Jolly Nature, enough speed to outspeed max speed Timid Heatran, even if it's Joy Scarf. And we are running Wing Attack, Rock Slide, Crunch and Earthquake. And then we have enough bulk that we can take a Modest Draco Meteor for Megaladios in a pinch. And I figure that would be the proper benchmark to hit with this, and then still have as much as attack investment available to us, so it can function as a revenge killer. And this is probably gonna be the mod that once I eliminate his potential Choice Scarfer that is designed to outspeed and revenge kill me, like a Heracross with a Stone Edge or Close Combat, or a potentially Rodon Wash with Electric Stab can outspeed me and potentially pick me off after Stealth Rocks. That if I'm able to play around his most likely ways to revenge kill me and position this one right and whittle down the things that can take one hit from me, this can easily clean out the game for myself. But we have to wait and see how that's gonna turn out. I have to watch out for his potential choice covers, because outside of those, Mega Aerodactyl just outspeeds his team and its coverage is just phenomenal. Only Rodon Wash, I would think, from the likely mons to be potentially brought, can consistently take hits from me with the attacking moves that I have. Then we are gonna be bringing the second member of the team, my Forgotten, the Kyurem-Black, with a Icemium C with Timid Nature, enough speed to outspeed max speed Rotom, so I can confirm that if it's Choice Scarf or not, if it's capable of outspeeding me. And then we have enough special attack investment that regular Ice Beam to Icenium C will 2-hit KO a max HP Piloswine, cause that's gonna be the most likely rocker that he will bring if he's going to bring one. So I want to make sure this thing can just obliterate that thing if possible, and kind of take out the pressure of Stealth Rocks coming into my side of the field, even though I'm gonna be bringing in my Starmie to this game to remove the hazards, but if I'm able to make sure that I don't have to waste a turn for going for rapid spin with it, it's gonna be more beneficial for me in a long run. And Ice Immune C in general can just also nuke things like Heracross if it's not Choice Scarf, and then I can OHKO it that in a way that I cannot OHKO it otherwise without the C move. Then the third member of the team is gonna be a Saltvest, Careful Nature Crocodile, with Earthquake, Knocko, Pursuit, and Sludge Bomb. And we have a lot of bulk to make sure this thing can soft check the Mega Latios and Plasipholon, both of them as much as possible. And I could have gone more of a attack invested with this one and be more of a bulky offensive one, but I really need the special bulk and be able to consistently take hits from a Choice Scarf, Plasipholon, and Mega Latios as well. With the bulk what we have, we actually do take 2 neutral Draco Meteors from a Mega Latios after Stealth Rocks. Not that he's capable of doing that consistently back-to-back hits, cause he has to drop his special attack. But I figure that is a good benchmark for me to hit, while at the same time still provide myself a little bit of attack investment to ensure 2-hit KO on the Latios with the Knockoff itself, even if he has a little bit of bulk investment. Then Pursuit is there to trap and eliminate the Plasipholon, which can be huge for my winning condition, which you're gonna be seeing in the back outside of Mega Aerodactyl, just to eliminate that thing out of the game. And then the Sludge Bomb is just there for the Tapu Bulu. Even if I'm not special attack investment and Careful Nature and such a pitiful special attack on Crocodile, this still can 2-shot a offensive Tapu Bulu. As long as he's not like a Saltvest or specially defensive or anything like that, this will 2-shot it. So if I see a potential prediction for myself to able to pull off with this thing, I can go for the Sludge Bomb and hoping that if he tries to use Tapu Bulu as a switch into this thing, I can 2-shot it from there. I don't have the speed investment to outspeed it if he has speed investment, but I didn't want to sacrifice the bulk to ensure that kind of goal and take away the bulk what it needs for its primary role, which is to check those 2 mons in Mega Latios and the Plasipholon. Then the fourth member of the team is gonna be Toronto Blue, the Starmie, a specially defensive Starmie with Skull, Toxic, Rapid Spin and Recover with Nature Cure and Leftovers. And we are having enough bulk to make sure a timid Heatran like a Choice Scarfer Heatran cannot 2-shot us with Dark Pulse from full with the Leftovers Recovery as well to combine with it. And Scald, I could have put either Surf or Scald. The Surf I could have put there to ensure a OHKO on a Plasipholon, but I opted go for the Scald just in case if I can find turns to fish for a burn on a potential Crobat, potential Byloswine, potentially Tapu Bulu, burning it on a switch whenever I go for it, and kinda hesitate him to switching to any of his mons, having to feel the burn over the Surf. So that was something that I had to debate on. Then I had Toxic for the Roto-Wasp, cause I could see easily Roto-Wasp or Mega Latios to be his primary switching to this thing, especially once he sees that I'm more of a supportive and utility Starmie. So getting a Toxic or Roto-Wasp can be huge for the late game for Mega Aerodactyl having its opening to clear out the game if all the potential Choice Scarfers has been eliminated or dealt with, or it can take a hit from them in a pinch and revenge kill them in that sense. So that is gonna be the set with Starmie, nothing too special. The leftover IV is just I put there just a general speed creeping, avoiding situations from my opponent, and the physical defense, it doesn't really put necessarily a benchmark, it's just leftover IVs that I figured that I'm gonna put them on the defense and the speed just for these general purposes, because it didn't enable me to hit a specific benchmark with them elsewhere. And then the fifth member of the team is gonna be Jirachi with a Choice Scarf, Adamant Nature, enough attack investment to OHKO a Heracross after Stealth Rocks with the Zen Headbutt. Then we have also enough bulk to live a Choice Scarf Flamethrower from Plasipholon, and the idea with that is that if I see Plasipholon ever come into me and Jirachi is still at full, I can potentially stay in on it, go for a U-turn or for the Stealth Rocks depending on whichever move I feel necessary to go for, cause there's a very good chance that if he brings Zoroark, he could utilize Zoroark plus Syphilon as a combo to lure in certain things and eliminate them. The other mod that could also pair well with the Zoroark would be Heracross, so it's between those two that if Zoroark happens to show up, he's gonna disguise it as one of those two. So off the chance he disguises it as a plus Syphilon, I have the opportunity to go for Stealth Rocks or for the U-turn, whichever I feel like at the point of the battle to be most useful for me to do. So that is the idea there, and then we have the speed investment to outspeed max speed Rotom. This is kind of like a speed control versus his middle tier speed choice Sculptor, which he could bring in Rotom or Heracross if they're whittled down to the point that Jirachi can revenge kill them. Especially like Rotom, if I Toxic it, then I can try to beat it down with Zen Headspots, and Heracross, like I said, will be OHKO'd after one round of Stealth Rock damage. So this kind of gives me a way of speed control outside of Mega Aerodactyl to his most likely choice Sculptors that I saw outside of plus Syphilon or Heatran. And then the last member of the team is gonna be Gothokriegers with a Colbo Berry, a sort of like a Crowfax set, similar to how Suicune has been seen to be run with a Mono Stab and Calm Mind and Rest Talk for the recovery. So the idea with this set is that this provides me 100% a check to a Heracross, which I do see coming especially with Choice Scarf. So this thing can always provide me a free switching to it, while at the same time become a potential winning condition if the certain requirements are met, that he doesn't bring any kind of a taunter. Like for example, like a trapping taunt Heatran could potentially beat me 1v1. Taunt Crobat could shut me down somewhat easily. And Piloswine with Roar can phase me out if necessary. But outside of that, he doesn't have really good ways to beat me down. The only way he can really beat this set is with plus Syphilon and Zoroark. So if I'm able to eliminate both of them, and he doesn't have any taunt users in the back, I can easily just win this thing right from the get-go if I'm able to position it right and preserve its health correctly to able to find my turns to set up. So that is gonna be the team. The idea with the team is just to be able to find the opponent, just to win with Mega Aerodactyl if the choice Sculptors are gone, or if he can take a hit from them in a pinch. And then go for Kriegers, while at the early game it's used as a pivot, in a late game it's gonna be more of a winning condition. And then Crocodile is gonna be hopefully playing in a big role to really help go for Kriegers to met those expectations and be able to do that as well. Also something to mention, Starmie should also be able to live a Shadow Ball from a Choice Skull plus Syphilon, and if I get Rocks up, then Skull is still always enough to kill it from full. So if that is also being able to accomplish, then Crocodile doesn't have to necessarily to be relied on to accomplish that goal. So that is gonna be the team. Hopefully things go well for us and we can keep our winning streak going on here in the NPL Majors and be able to pick up a W versus a very good coach. So I'll be coming in a sec for the replay itself and see how the game turned out. Hell hi Dragons! And here we are with the battle replay versus IA, and he decided to bring plus Syphilon, Zoroark, Heatran, Megaladios, Piloswine and Heracross. So he brought a more of a offensive oriented team. The only mod that I was expecting to come that didn't show up, that was a surprise to me, was Rotom that it didn't show up. Everything else makes quite a bit of sense to me. And the thoughts that I figured that at first glance how I felt about his sets potentially being as I was looking at the team review was that I figured that the plus Syphilon most likely should be Choice Scarf, cause Choice Specs is just a food for Mega Aerodactyl to revenge kill it, so I don't think it has a specific role to be able to do anything else unless it's Choice Scarf. Zoroark I'm heavily expected to be Fighting C, especially since the Bulu didn't show up. And I think the Fighting C really goes well, especially alongside plus Syphilon, because it can lure in things like Crocodile and obliterate it with Fighting MC to the point that Blacephalon has actually easier time to clean up the game. So I really think Fighting MC makes a lot of sense. Also the fact that it can nuke my Kyurem-Black also was something that I thought that, yeah, Fighting MC Zorak is probably the one that I would be fearing and expecting the most. Heatran, I would expect it to be Air Balloon, cause then it can avoid to be Earthquaked by Earth-powered or Earthquaked by my first 3 mons, and it's able to run the perfect coverage or just stab move to hit them quite heavily to the point that the choice Scarfers that he could potentially have easier time to revenge kill them. So I figured that would be the Heatran set that I was fearing the most to be. Mega Latios, I think it's gonna be always specially attack orientated, either 3 attacks plus recover or 4 attacks if he doesn't feel like he has the turns to go for the recover. Pilus 1 is gonna be standard Pilus 1, I think, and Heracross I'm expecting to be choice Scarf as well. It was either Heracross or the Roto was, I figured from his middle speed tiers, that is going to be a choice Scarfer because they are the only ones that can outspeed my Mega Aerodactyl even if I'm max speed surely. Cause Heatran for example cannot provide that for him if I have the proper speed tier as I do. But either way, I'm gonna be leading up with my Jirachi, cause this gives me the safest lead option no matter what he leads up with. Even if he leads with the Blacephalon or if this happens to be a Zorak, I always click U-turn, cause if he is choice Scarf, unless he goes for a overheat and fire blast, I will always leave it and I can go for the U-turn and U-turn into my Crocodile from that point. If he happens to be Specs, then I can kinda play to the point that he is going for the fire type move at that point and swap into my Starmie, even though it's weak to the Ghost type, which he still could go for versus Jirachi, but I think he would go for the fire type move if he Specs. And if he happens to be the Zorak, if he's Scarf, I do leave anyone hit from it. If it's not choice Scarf, I hit it first, intensify it, and then I can swap into Kyurem-Black expecting the knockoff. So that is gonna be the kind of the thoughts of what I had in first turn, why I led like I did, and how I saw myself reacting to it, what is in front of me. And that is gonna be the second, that is gonna be how it's gonna be playing out here. And here, I'm gonna be actually making a very aggressive play, but it's very important for me to make this play for a few reasons. And that is gonna be swapping into Jirachi. The main reason to this is to scout the Fighting MC, cause if he has it, he's going for it, cause then he can guarantee the kill on the Kyurem-Black and put himself in a good position and eliminate a potentially a huge threat to him. And as you saw that I'm holding a Sea Crystal and he knows it now going for the knockoff, he cannot go for the knockoff again in front of this thing. And then therefore Jirachi is a lot safer switching to this thing, and based on the damage that he did with the knockoff, he shows to be physically attacking orientated with this thing, so all the attacking moves that he will most likely have are physical moves itself. And from here also the other idea is that once I swap into Jirachi, my mindset, instead of going for a second consistent U-turn, I would be going for the Stealth Rocks, cause then he cannot just pick me off with a Sucker Punch this time around if he happens to carry it, and I get the Stealth Rocks up for the Blacephalon and make it to take the chip that I need to that my Starmie, even having Scald and not having the special attack investment to OHKO the Blacephalon from full, with the Stealth Rock support, so I can do that and giving me another way to deal with that thing if Crocodile fails to do that. So that is gonna be my play, and even if he goes for a fall play, which is the hardest hitting move, Dark type move that he would potentially go for to hit the Kyurem-Black and anything else besides that, if I happen to swap out, I should be able to always live this fall play which could come into my way and do the Stealth Rock play. But he crits me, and this is really unfortunate if I do happen to need those Stealth Rocks, but at this point I might still be okay without them, and I was okay letting go Jirachi as my choice Scarfer at this point of time, because the Blacephalon being there is very likely to be choice Scarf, so it's never going to be able to outspeed and kill his Scarfer. The Heatran is in the back, which I never able to break through, and outside of that it didn't have the greatest value. The greatest value that I got from Jirachi potentially here was doing the U-turn damage that I did and then get the Stealth Rocks, but it's really unfortunate that I wasn't able to get those Stealth Rocks up, but now I have to hope it doesn't end up being one of the influences for me to lose this game, and I can still recover from this. And as of right now, I still feel like I can recover from this, but now it really comes down to that Crocodile can eliminate the things that it's meant to deal with. Now I just go into my Mega Aerodactyl, go for the wing attack. I do get a crit, but obviously it didn't matter at this point. And then he goes into his Pilot Swine. I'm gonna make my swap into Starmie and then go for the Rapid Spin. At this point I wasn't fearing the Blaziphilon try to spin block me, cause the idea here was that if he tries to spin block me, the only way for him to kill my Starmie at this range is that he is Vex, and he needs to lock himself a Shadow Ball, and if he kills me, so be it, he gets the rocks up, but then again I go into Crocodile, click Pursuit and eliminate that thing out of the picture from there. So it was never like a no throwback play for me to attempt to go for the Rapid Spin, even if he has a spin blocker, but he realizes that and goes to his Heracross, and this reveals that he doesn't have the Flame Offset. And with Mummy ability I'm able to tell that which ability I took away is that he is Moxie Heracross, and based on the damage he definitely looks to be the Choice Scout set, which honestly made the most sense if he would even bring this one versus me. And with the Colbo Berry I take that knockoff really well, and I'm very free to go for the Shadow Ball as he goes into his Mega Latios, and I do get this PDF drop, but this shouldn't really change my play regardless, and it really shouldn't matter in the long run anyway that I got it, cause I cannot afford to stay in and go for the kill and allow him to nuke me to the point that Heracross or something else revenge kills me, cause this is my winning condition. Besides Mega Aerodactyl, though, Go for Kriegers and Mega Aerodactyl are the monster that I bank on winning this game. Mega Aerodactyl deal with the Heatran to outspeed it, and Go for Kriegers, barring the Heatran having taunt, this thing can easily win out this game once the Blaziphilon is eliminated. That is the only thing that I need to eliminate for the Calm My Rest Talk set to really start putting into work. So now I have to react to this Latios, still swap out even after this PDF drop that I got, and go into my Crocodile. But here, he gets this PDF drop on my Crocodile, which is going to matter a lot more than it did versus his on Latios, because this means that my Crocodile has to take a lot more than it has to take normally, and now whatever move he has, like Draco Meteor or Ice Beam, the two hottest hitting moves, even after this PDF drop, I should be outside of range of +1 Blaziphilon killing me with Shadow Ball after rocks, after he's done this upcoming hit towards me. But the fact that he got this chance to hit me harder than he could have leaves me vulnerable to another hacks going to his way with the Blaziphilon if it's able to get the Beast Boost up and he's able to crit through me after Stealth Rocks damage. But as of right now, I can still manage the Blaziphilon when it's forced to lock itself into Shadow Ball, as long as he doesn't crit me. Outside of a crit at +1, Shadow Ball can only do 20% of max. So after one round of Stealth Rocks, I definitely still take a +1 Blaziphilon's hit, so I have to preserve the Crocodile for that, and that thing only. And I go into my Starmie. The same 1v1 scenario happens with this Pilot Swine. I went for the Rapid Spin as he went for the rocks. Then I went for the Scald as he goes for the rocks again. And here I actually go for the Recover instead of Rapid Spin, because if I Rapid Spin there, I obviously couldn't do anything about it. I could have gone for the second consistent Scald, but I went for the Recover because it covered both plays of him staying in and try to keep doing the same thing all over again. And it covered the play that if he does make the swap into Blaziphilon with the Recover, I leave myself outside of range of Choice Scout Blaziphilon of killing me, which still gives me the opportunity to hit it with a Scald. But this is where the Stealth Rocks would really come in handy, because I know for a fact, barring a crit or him being Choice Specs or a boosting item, I leave this Shadow Ball. With the Stealth Rocks he would be at 76%, which is definitely in a range of my Scald. But because I don't have those rocks up, unless I get my crit of my own, I don't kill this thing, and you're gonna see that he is going to live that. So this is a very unfortunate scenario, but I do still have check in the bag. in my Crocodile for this +1 choice card plus Cephalon, as long as he doesn't crit me. Like I said, it should only do 20% to me at max, and we can actually check it from here. It would do 70% to 20% with a choice specs, and right now being +1 beast boost to special attack, it's basically at choice specs power in itself. So I should always lift this hit, and I should be like in the 6% at minimum at least. If he gets a lower roll, I still leave Stealth Rocks guaranteed as a sack if necessary, which could come into play. But he crits through me. And that's pretty sad, because that's basically a good game because of that only. That one turn there. And we're gonna end up losing this 4-0 just like that. In a game that I felt like I had all the tools to win this game, with the prep and the way I was playing. Not only one hacks on the Jirachi, which came into play because the Stealth Rocks damage would have meant that this thing is dead. The special defense drop on my Crocodile having to take such a significant damage over that it needed to do, because the Latios did like... Let's go and see how much it actually did to me. It did from 92%, it does 59%. We can go back how much that would have done without this PDF drop. I'm pretty sure it did a lot less. So with neutral, like not without this PDF drop, he would have only done 42.3% at most, which is obviously a lot less than this. And it would have left me around 50% of health. And after Stealth Rocks I would be like 44 or 43% of health. So with plus Cephalon, if he would have got the crit still anyways, he would have done to me 30% at most. So if only just one of those hacks from those three didn't happen, and the same turns would have happened, I was in a position to win this game. Why do I say as confidently that I should have won this game is that we did reveal to ourselves the sets that we were running, and his Heatran happened to be choice cover as well. So he brought triple choice covers, standard Piloswine, focus as Zoroark, so it wasn't Fighting C after all, and this was a 4 attacks Latios with timid nature. So as long as I was able to keep the Mega Aerodactyl in the back just in case if I needed for choice carve Heatran and outspeed it and kill it, I had the option there. And with Piloswine, Heracross and the choice carve Heatran in the back, he had nothing really for my Go for Kriegers once it started to set up, and he had 2 potential easy setup fighters in Piloswine or Heracross, which honestly, if he didn't see my rest talk set coming in, it could have been just a couple of turns that I needed to get it going to the point that there's no way for him to shut it down and eliminate it unless he gets even more luckier than he ended up having. But nothing against IA, obviously this is just how game of Pokemon can happen, myself included, and for most of you who have watched it, watching this, all of us can share our experience where RNG really screwed you over and you potentially lost a game that you should have won otherwise. And this is just one of the examples that happens. Unfortunately, it happens here on the NPL Majors for me in a position that where I feel like I should have been 3-0. I'm gonna be instead of 2-1, and I have to take a huge differential loss as well alongside with that, where I feel like I should have won, but it happens. At the time, obviously, I was really upset. I wasn't really like being super salty and annoying to my opponent. Like, he apologized, he recognized that he should have lost this game. He had his own experience just recently in week 1 where he got hacked as hell as well from a victory which he should have won. So that just shows to happen that every one of us has to go through this annoying experience, and we have to just deal with it. And for me, how I dealt with this was that I just went outside, had a nice beer and pizza, came back home, watched hockey game, went back to sleep, and on next day I was pretty much I was able to get this salt out of the system by now. Obviously now when I watch this, it's kind of coming back to my veins, and I wasn't too happy to really or looking forward to record this, but it's okay. I can live with this loss. I have lost before RBC as well. So sometimes it's just you cannot always be on the winning side of the things. Unfortunately, because of these RNG factors, that's going to be a case for us. But that's gonna be it for us. Hopefully on next week versus Adam the Beast Needs, we can bounce back from this and get back on the winning side of the things. Thankfully the UPL D-League didn't have the same occurrence for me as well. So breaking the fourth wall, the game that I had versus Marold actually happened few days after this game happened. So I already feel more confident about having to take this kind of loss in Draft League and feel like that okay, I can bounce back from this and keep going with my draft leagues and feel like I can compete in both of them. But thank you all for watching. Stay tuned for next weekend when we come back with the UPL D-League content as well. And on the Saturday and on the Sunday we'll be coming back for the NPL Majors as well for the week 4 battle. And until then, I'll be see you guys later.